I find it amazing that the sun that sets here on Christmas Eve is the same sun that the shepherds watched going down over the hills around Bethlehem over 2,000 years ago. Of course, there's a risk of romanticising the life of a shepherd in those days. Actually, life for them was hard. One writer suggests they were considered by society as only a little higher than lepers. They lived their lives on the outside of community, long days and nights away from home, looking after someone else's property, taking on the smell of the animals they watched over, putting themselves in harm's way of wild animals, thieves and robbers. Yet they weren't trusted and often accused of being complicit in any losses. And at night, where we first meet them, in the dark, every sound the shepherd would strain to hear so he can visualize what he can't see, wondering if the snap of a twig meant violence was coming. Fear was life's companion. It's not surprising then that when the angel appears, fear goes to another level. This is what we read in Luke 2. The glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were filled with a great fear. The literal translation is they feared with great fear. They were gripped by it. It overwhelmed them. And this is when they get to hear the most amazing words of comfort. Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Saviour, who is Christ the Lord. You see, I think the way Luke records the story of the shepherds reminds us that Christmas is about fear, or more accurately, Christmas is for our fear. When we get to this point in this Christmas story, it's the third time we hear the angel, God's mouthpiece, say, "Fear not," first to Zechariah and then to Mary. Luke is making a point. In many ways, our fears are similar to those of the shepherds. Fear of not being accepted, of the exclusion and loneliness that goes with that. Fear of failure and its consequences, or of being found out. Fear of what life in general throws at us. Illness, and not just one particular virus. Economic hardship, broken relationships, and so on. Into our fears, God, through Luke's record and by his Spirit, says to us, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy." In doing so, he's saying, trust me. I've wondered if, as Luke wrote this account, he reflected on Psalm 91 and verses 2 and 5. This is where it says, "Those who say, 'My God in whom I trust,' will not fear the terror of the night." It seems to fit. And Luke shifts our gaze from great fear to great joy. Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy. The phrase great joy is only used on a few occasions in the Bible, all significant in the gospel story. So, for example, when Solomon becomes king, the first confirmation of God's promise that the everlasting king would be in the line of David. This great joy doesn't come from a resolution of all those issues which cause us to fear. It comes in the reminder at Christmas that God hasn't forgotten us. Rather, he has seen our pain. He himself stepped into our world to deliver us. This is great joy, is to be without fear. Luke reminds us that it's for all people, that is, by faith and not limited to a particular race or class or colour. So, for those who put their trust in what God did at Christmas, like the light of the hosts of heavens dispels the dark, Christ dispels our fear. We do not need to fear the terror of the night. Pray that you would hear God say to you this Christmas, "Fear not, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy."